So this is my bow for my Bowdrill kit, and pretty sure this is vine maple. Yeah, this is vine maple. It's nice and bendy. And then I have, my kit is cottonwood. My spindle, so this is the spindle, this is the cottonwood root. And this is my hearth board, and this is a cottonwood branch. So a bit unusual to use this as my hearth board, but it works and it's super great. Then I have just like a piece of, I think it's cedar, as my coal catch. And I have a hazel handhold. So here I actually have some cottonwood root. So I went to a riverbank and found like old roots, and then cut them to size, looked for kind of straight pieces. And then out of this, I kind of then created the shape of the spindle. So you got to make the spindle round, and then one end is kind of like a point, like a pencil, and the other end is kind of like, it's more of like a mountain. Some people make theirs rounded, some people make them a bit pointy, but it needs to be a little bit pointy to go into your hearth board. So you just got to round it, make it nice and smooth so that it will spin around in the bow. You want to find a piece of wood. I like to find mine with like a slight natural curve in it. And a little bit of like spring and bounce is good too. And I just found this. I thought this was a really nice piece of vine maple. I like it because it's thin as well and it's super light. And you want your bow somewhere between like the center of your chest, the tips of your fingers. Some people do it more from your armpit to your wrist, but anywhere kind of like in this range is super cool. And then for this bow, I drilled one hole in this end and 2 holes in this end to kind of make it nice and easy, because this one's super thin. So like carving like a little like notch for it to sit in would have been a bit trickier. So yeah, then just paracord through it and nice and bendy. So back in England, I love hazel, and so when I found some hazel out here, I was really excited to make my handhold out of it. And just found like a dead piece and cut it to the size that you like it. I quite like a big one because I push my handhold against my leg and like hold it like that, like a shelf, rather than have it like extended like that. And so I like it quite big. You just cut it to the size that you like it, and then just use your knife and billet it in half. And then all you need to make is like a small indent so that the top of your spindle fits in. And then once you start bow drilling, it will naturally make a hole. It will burn the hole in here. Cool. And then for the hearth board, similarly to my spindle, I went to a riverbank and found a nice piece, cut it to the size that I like it. And then I think, yeah, it was like the piece of wood was this, the branch was like this thick already. So I just like billeted it with a knife both sides and then kind of made it as, it's not really that even or flat, but made it as even and flat as I could. So I get my hearth board and you might want to measure it. I don't measure it because I've done it so many times. But some people put their spindle on, roll it half, and then they'll do it there. You just basically don't want it too close to the edge or too far from the edge. And then just moving the knife around to create a nice little indent. Do you want to like see it? Yeah. Like that. And it doesn't need to be super deep, just deep enough that the spindle will sit in it and stay. Cool. So once I've done that, I'm ready to start bowing. So if you look at my kit, you'll see I have like notches carved out of them, but you don't carve the notch first, you need to burn your hole in first. And then like I described, we just slowly move backwards and forwards. And then once I feel like it's in there nicely and it's not going to pop out, I can go to broader strokes. And just keeping the pace, slow and steady. This should be fairly comfortable. Like, you don't want to be putting a lot of energy into it. And then I'll have a little look. And yeah, that's about burnt enough. So you know your hole is burnt in enough when the entire bottom of your spindle is black. So I'm gonna keep that dust. Cool. So once you have a nice hole burnt in, you want to cut a little pizza slice out of it. So I like to put my knife in the middle, and then I'm kind of drawing where I'm going to cut with my knife. So I do one little cut out to the side, one little cut out to the other side, and then I connect those lines down because those are going to be stopper cuts. And if it's your first board, I would recommend doing your first hole towards the center of the board, because if it's too close to the edge, you're at greater risk of like cutting your fingers, because you kind of have to do this motion, which is kind of sketchy. So yeah, in the center of the board, and we've done kind of 2 deep cuts on this side. Carve it down like this. And then we do another stopper cut again, so you put the knife in, kind of wiggle it around a bit. Some people like to, I wouldn't use your handhold, but mine's really tough, hit it a little bit to get it nice and in there. And you want to keep alternating sides so that it doesn't get like lopsided. As you get to the middle, it's more of a triangular shape, so you just need to be careful when you're doing your stopper cuts that they're at like a slight angle, and that when I'm taking these little like pieces out, that I'm making sure it's going inwards and it's not staying in a square shape.